And we kickstart the bulletin with some breaking news coming in from India, where the top court has asked the government of India to consider framing a law against lynching and mob violence. The top court said that it is the duty of the state to prevent mobocracy and that a citizen cannot take law into his hands. And to bring us more details on this news story, I am joined in by our special correspondent Jessica Taneja, who joins me live. Jessica, the growing number of lynchings and mob vigilantism had become a disgrace to the Indian constitution and the Indian democracy. The SC verdict has finally tackled the state's inactive stance so far.
Absolutely, Akansha. The Supreme Court verdict is as expected, that it does say that these are horrendous acts of mobocracy which need to be curbed. Clearly, the onus is on the state governments to implement law of rule and law and order, but that hasn't happened in the past, and that is why the Supreme Court had to step in. Now, with increasing numbers of incidents of mob violence and mob lynching cases being reported, the police has failed to act on many issues. And of course, the state governments have also been pulled up. But what's important to understand from this verdict today is that the Supreme Court has asked to form, suggested rather, to the centre to frame certain laws which could be made punishable under the law, wherein these perpetrators would not be allowed to go, without being punished. So that is an important part of this judgment as well. But whether centre chooses to do so or not is another point. But that's the suggestion from this judgment, at least, pointing it out specifically that you need to curb these violence cases where it involves lynching and mob violence. It can't become a norm in a pluralistic society like ours.
Right. Jessica, also, tell us more about the verdict, because we also hear and believe that the Supreme Court has urged the Parliament also to create a separate law to deal with cases of mob violence.
That's right, Akansha. That's what the Apex Court in its verdict has said today, and that is supposedly the way forward to in order to curb these incidents of violence. Now, let's also understand that rule of law and sections within the Constitution do exist to prevent such incidents. But now that the specificality of such incidents has grown so wide that it sometimes the police tries to put their hand away and say that these are not under the ambit of law and the IPC sections, which is where there is a sort of a lapse in the law and order. But at this point in time, if there are separate laws and there are separate, amendments made in various acts of the law, then there can be a lot done. But at this point in time, as you pointed out, the Supreme Court has told the centre that it will be better that there is a punishable offence, and there are certain laws which instills fears in these perpetrators to not commit these acts again.
Absolutely, Jessica very rightly pointed out. It is very important for the centre to actually come up with laws which create fear, and that the mobocracy, as the SC said, which is a horrendous act, can finally be curbed. Thank you so much, Jessica, for bringing us all those live details from the Supreme Court.